Hey guys, it's your best fight friends. I'm Kelsey. That's Rachel. Rachel, tell the folks what they've won today.
You've won a chance to watch Kelsey watch Roy Jones. Here's
Rachel's
what it is.
Yeah.
Roy Jones released some video of him training, right? Him and Mike Tyson are going to fight relatively soon. And we've seen a bunch of montages of Mike training. So now we're getting to see a little more of Roy Jones.
Mike had a head start on Roy training-wise. Now Roy's getting in shape, and I think there's people on the internet that were really amazed to see Roy Jones Jr. look this good.
It hit a lot of little news things, and a lot of people thought he looked really good.
Now, lifelong Roy Jones Jr. fan will watch this and tell you if it's Roy Jones Jr.
And that's the key here.
Is this really
Roy? A boxing fan. Kelsey, though, he's a boxing fan, but he...
For life. Well, because I grew up watching...
Never forgot Roy Jones.
Well...
Y'all must have forgot.
Yeah. You didn't watch boxing when Roy Jones was Roy Jones.
No, so we're going to see what Kelsey thinks of
I'll tell you if this
trainings,
is Roy.
Okay, so...
I'll tell you if you should be hyped.
Kelsey...
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay?
Kelsey hasn't seen this.
I mean, he looks pretty fast. Woo! Roy's fast! Okay? I mean, damn. I mean, can you imagine being able to do that? And Roy's, how old is Roy? Roy's pretty old. Yeah. Well, okay. So, I mean, he looks pretty good. This is a lot better than I expected to see. I was ready to tell you not to be hyped. But, I mean...
You see that little duck?
Yeah.
Ducking under there.
I mean, he looks pretty sensational. As a person who goes to his amateur boxing gym, I can tell you that Roy Jones looks like a guy I would not want to tangle with. You know what I mean? Like, when you see a guy like that, you're like, I want to fight that guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he looks good. I could never, ever, ever do that on the pads, and almost nobody else I know in real life could either. That's how great Roy Jones, look, it's on fire, baby! Watch out, Mike. Watch out.
Now, I'm going to point out here that I've seen training clips
We've fallen for this crap before.
Of Mike Tyson. I've now seen training clips of Roy Jones Jr., and the only thing I will say is that they are short clips. Let me see a 3-round, let me see 10 minutes of Roy in the ring, like with a ring timer. Let me see like that, because I think it's... Now, I will say this was a bunch of clips.
And they look pretty good.
All stacked on top of each other.
Pretty fluid.
And my assumption is they weren't all taken across like 20 days within the... Right when he started training. You know what I mean?
I'm going to be honest with you. When you wanted to do this to me, I was like... I had seen some clips of Roy, and I was like, I don't expect him to look that good. But I'm going to like sugarcoat it a little bit, probably, because he's one of my favorite fighters ever and one of my favorite people ever. However, sugarcoating not necessary here. He looks pretty damn good, right?
I think he looks pretty good. When I think back to Mike Tyson's training montages, it almost looked like Mike Tyson might be faster, which is like, Roy's being the one known as having the speed.
Now, Mike was incredibly fast for a heavyweight. Yeah, I don't know.
Is Roy going to be able to dodge when the beast that is Mike Tyson comes at him?
It's just hard.
And bullies him is he going to be able to withstand that? Because it's one thing to be on these pads, it's another thing when Mike Tyson's coming right at you.
The biggest part is that for Roy Jones Jr., what's interesting to me is Roy Jones Jr. in his prime versus Mike Tyson as a heavyweight, because Roy Jones Jr. in his prime could avoid Mike Tyson's punches, right? He could avoid everybody's punches.
Yeah.
Now, that's something that diminished with time because everybody's reflexes get poorer.
Yeah.
But you know what? On the other side of the equation, Mike Tyson has always been great when he can bully people back to when he was the youngest heavyweight champion. If Roy can land punches back and make Mike miss enough, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's an intriguing fight. Credit to both of these guys for getting in such incredible shape and being so inspiring to the world. The world needs inspiration today, Rachel, and I'm grateful that they're part of the people that are giving that to us.
Yeah, I'm also grateful that these guys are continuing across their lifetime to have a livelihood. You know what I mean? that can be a difficult thing for athletes when their prime is done and they're no longer can be in the cage, in the ring, on the field, on the court, whatever it is.
Mike's got his marijuana farm, and Roy's got his own boxing promotion company. It's on UFC Fight Pass. A lot of his fights are there. A lot of the fighters that he promotes.
Yeah.
And of course, Roy is arguably the best boxing color commentator that isn't doing that job right now. So somewhere down the line, I'd love to see him back in that role.
I really love Roy.
Super surprised
as a color commentator.
I mean, you got the PBC, you got the Zone. And the Zone is filled with a lot of old people that were with HBO, so I don't understand. You got Showtime. I don't know why Roy Jones. Maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Maybe he doesn't want to do it. Maybe
y'all must have forgot.
Y'all must have forgot.
Some people, everybody critiques commentators, right? And so some people would critique Roy, but I thought whatever sure he wasn't great at pronouncing all the names or stuff like that, but he had this. He's just I'm just me. I'm Roy. He might speak in the third person sometimes, but that's just him. And there was something just, what do you call that? It was a strong foundation whenever you had your crew on there, because Roy was just Roy. And he also, I think, brought really good analysis.
Yeah. And
there's another color commentator that is employed right now, and I'm not going to say who it is, but man, I cannot stand him. I mean,
don't say who it is.
I'm not saying who it is. That seems kind of
I don't know who it is, but don't say it. We don't need to
drag
him down.
But I thought Roy was really, really good. I really liked him.
Man, you know what? I just realized. So I signed
You remember? Okay, little story here. So Roy Jones used to commentate on HBO, right? And when Max Kellerman joined that broadcast, there was this thing between them that it would always, and I thought. I was gosh, these guys must hate each other in real life. They must just get under their skin. Where they would argue with each other, or he would correct Max a lot. That's what he would do. So as a boxer, I imagine when somebody else there who hasn't been a boxer, you kind of say things, you have your own opinion, and you feel really confident, right? Because he's Roy Jones Jr. So he would correct Max a lot, but I thought they hated each other. We went out to dinner in San Antonio with Bart Berry, who's a boxing writer, among other things. And
a philanthropist.
Bart Berry, he was no, Rachel. We were just, he was Max Kellerman idolizes Roy Jones Jr. And I was oh my gosh, that's what I'm picking up on the broadcast, is that Max Kellerman loves him. So when he's being corrected,
he wouldn't argue with him.
He wouldn't argue, but he might try to, backpedal. He might try to, he loved him, so that's what I was picking up on.
We've had a thing on Twitter before with Max Kellerman and Andy Lee, former middleweight champion, and Kelsey McCarson about who loves Roy Jones Jr. more. I think it's me. Those two guys think it's them. But listen, I wanted to also quickly say that I signed up to do the post-fight call-in for Bleacher Report about Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones.
Oh, that'll be fun.
And now I've realized that I may have doomed myself because Roy Jones is one of my absolute favorite fighters ever. It's him or Evander. I think they're tied. What if Roy gets hurt? I don't want to ride it if Roy loses. Come on, man.
Well, especially in a devastating way. A
Roy, you gotta win. I'll be sad.
Knocked out by Marcus.
It'll be emotional for me because this is from when I was. You know what I mean?
Kelsey will be riding after the fight.
I'm emotionally attached to Roy Jones. In a way that isn't common.
I feel if you are, I want you to emote and just put all that emotion in the post-fight piece. And it'll just turn into a love letter to what was Roy Jones Jr. in the boxing ring.
So hopefully you'll be sticking around for that. Again, I'm Kelsey McCarson. That's Rachel McCarson. And we're Real Talk with the McCarsons. That's not really the name of the show.
It's Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel
McCarson.
Y'all must have forgot.